Knowledge is not power. We've heard that statement for years, that knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge applied is power. You can know everything there is to know about something. If we don't take action on it, it doesn't do anything for us. It was just entertaining. So the most powerful knowledge that I can share with you guys is understanding the inputs that create our emotional state of being. First, it's our beliefs. And then is focus, language, and physiology. You guys drew the triangle last week. This understanding uncovers our hidden abilities to control our emotional state. We like to think we're on a roller coaster and the world's happening to us. But when you awaken to your abilities, you see that you're not on a roller coaster. There's a steering wheel here, and I get to purposefully grab a hold of it and take control and drive and choose the level I play at. So for 2 years, we've had these conversations, simply because it's the most powerful thing that I've ever experienced in my life to change the outcomes of my life. And, you know, in these moments, in this moment, it becomes so critical. So once you've awakened to the fact that you have the ability to control your emotional state, you start to see the responsibility you bear to take ownership of your emotional state. You can't blame anybody anymore. It's me. The problem is me every time. That's what you come to is that need to own who I am in this moment. But if we commit to this constant effort of being responsible, this becomes a super ability. It becomes a way of being, where we can not be pushed around by the strains of the world or things that come at us. We can be stable. We can show up in the way that we need to become for the moment. So let me see. I'd like to see some fingers. Remember how we did fingers last week? You have to hold them up for a minute because I got to do 3 pages to look at everybody. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important in this time is managing our emotional state? This is 0 and this is 10. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a pretty high vote here for a 10. Now, I'd like to point out that I showed up in a different state this morning. You guys probably noticed that. And it might be accidental. Maybe I rolled out of bed and was feeling more serious this morning. Or maybe I chose the state to be for this moment. But what state I bring into this environment has an effect on you. And so a purposeful choice of me to show up in a certain state of being is having an effect on you guys right now. So what I'd like everybody to do is go to the chat box and type in, what state are you in right now? What emotional state are you experiencing in this exact moment? So take just a moment, chat those up for me. Cool. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. So awareness of our state is key. You guys, actually, we don't do self-checks on where we're at. And so thank you for taking a moment to just do a self-analysis of what emotional state I'm even in. Because sometimes you wind up, you don't explore your state of being until there's a problem. Somebody reacts to you, or you realize that the experience that you're having with another human being isn't going the way you want it to. And then you like realize, oh, I'm in a really bad place right now, or I'm not where I need to be. So being proactive and choosing your state is a whole nother level. Self-awareness to be able to identify, I was not in a good place because I'm getting this outcome, is one thing. And that's good. That's better than complete unawareness. But stepping in purposefully and just knowing who I am and where I'm at, and then presenting that to the world that's where you really want to play. That's playing the game well. So let's do this. We've just experienced a state. Let's use some physiology and change the state again. Now, I was a little disappointed last week because I was so busy dancing, I didn't get to enjoy everyone else dancing. So I spent a little time thinking about that, and I've got a plan. I've got it all figured out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of dancing, but we're going to do it by group. And so those of us who are not called can enjoy the show. And when your group's called, you'll have a minute or so to dance, and then I'll call another group and we'll switch it up. Do the rules make sense? All right. So I got to get some volume cranked up here. And since leaders have to lead, I think we're going to have the leadership kick us off. So everybody on your feet, get cozy, and enjoy the show. You ready?
Hey, ladies! Swing that thing! Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on, bring it on!
All right, let's see some plumbers.
Swing that thing!
Plumbers, go!
Swing that thing! Swing that thing! Swing that thing! Swing that thing!
That's what I'm talking about.
For real, I've never tried to swing.
All right, CSRs and dispatchers. Let's see you move. Hey, yeah. I'm talking about. How about the dream team?
Bring it back, bring it back.
Hell yeah.
Just get on around and don't quit. Swing that thing. Swing that thing.
Accounting and handyman. I see you, Scott. You got to bring it.
Let me tell you how it goes. Chicken OG is no fucking hose. This one for you. So I hope you move that booty too.
Warehouse and drivers.
So what more you walk on? And let's get on down. Straight from Miami, so you know I don't got no rhyme. 2 goes in the crib. Yeah, man like me get ill. So don't pull my strip. Cause me and you gonna do the wild thing.
Yeah.
So we'll stop.
One of them's literally driving. HR and marketing.
And jump in and don't quit. Swing that thing. Swing that thing. Swing that thing. Swing that thing. Swing that thing.
HVAC team.
Let's stop fooling around. I want to see that butt bounce up and down. You can't tell me it ain't hype. Cause mentally disturbed got something that you know you like. Now it's time to start jumping.
All right. Thank you, guys. That was cool. I'm all about that. Now, do you find yourself in a different state than you did when you typed that chat in? Yeah. I mean, how fast can we change our state? This fast. It's that fast. We have this ability to change our state. And what did we use? We just used the tool physiology to change our state. And you guys have these tools. You can change your state. You can get sucked into a lot of bad news and a bunch of people talking about Armageddon coming, and you can go out and kick on some swing that thing and have a little dance party by yourself and change your state. You can choose to do that. And something that I actually routinely choose to do. If I find myself in a funk, I'll literally kick on some loud ass music and do some dancing and just break myself free of the emotional state I was just in. This is not accidental, what we're doing here, folks. This is not, none of it's accidental. Sometimes it is, but not in this moment. So we need to, I'm Brad Casebeer. Sarah and I are co-owners of Radiant Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Been doing this for 20 years. And there's probably a few people in here that have not yet introduced themselves to the team as new employees. I'd invite you guys to go ahead and unmute your mics and tell us who you are and what it is that you do here. Bueller?
I'll get started. Hi, I'm Joey.
Hi, Joey.
How are y'all? Hope everybody's well. I don't actually anticipate a response. I got brought on about 3 weeks ago, and I'm doing lead coordination for HVAC install team right now, and just looking to be of service anywhere I can help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So glad. Give him a silent hand, everyone. We're so glad to have you on the team. Very cool. Who else have we got?
Hi, good morning. Chris Morgan. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you. You look like a whistleblower, like in a video that's backlit, and you're going to tell us all the secrets. But go ahead.
I don't know what it is. I'm first time using Zoom. Chris Morgan, HVAC service tech, brand new to Austin, brand new to Texas. Excited about what the future holds. Really, and I've been here about a week. Started last week, Wednesday. And it's been really great so far. And, thank everyone for the welcome. I got an email last week. Everybody welcomed me. It just felt really good.
Hey, Chris, could you do me a favor? What device are you on?
iPad.
Could you just grab it and like do a 180 so we can get some light on your face and get to actually see you? Like spin. Can you pivot? Pivot more. Keep pivoting. There you are. Hi. We just couldn't see you. I really wanted to get to see you. So glad to meet you, man. All right, give this man an air hand. Air clap, I mean. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much. All right, who else have we got? So glad to have you on the team. Do we have one more, Michelle?
Yeah, Nestor, are you on here this week?
I'm on here.
Hey, introduce yourself, Nestor. Can we see you? Is there any way you can do video?
My camera actually broke on my phone, so I'm not able to do that. But yeah, I'm on the HVAC install team, and I started about 3 weeks ago. But I'm excited. I'm grateful to be here.
Awesome. We're grateful that you're here too. We're all giving you a clap right now. You can't see it, but or maybe you can. Oh, you can see us. Good. All right. Well, good. We'll look forward to seeing you. Anybody see the movie Fight Club? Like literally one of my all-time favorite movies. That movie blew my mind. I didn't know what was coming.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah, you can't talk about Fight Club. At the very end, when the whole city's being blown up and he has this realization of what his role in all that was, he looks at Marla and says, "You met me at a really strange time in my life." And that's just how I feel about you guys showing up. And it's like, I don't know. This is just where we're at. So it'll be different in the future. And you've met us at a very strange time in our lives. So welcome to the team. So glad you're here. So we'll keep moving forward. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick. So interesting. I wasn't even planning on talking about this morning until this is how it works. I roll out of bed and it's like, this is relevant. So I cooked up some tuna last night. I had a really nice yellowfin tuna steak and it's been sitting in the fridge. I've been looking at that and it's, we got to get this done because it's not going to last. So tonight's the night. And I cut up some chunks and I put it on my 10-year-old son's, Brooks's plate. Cut it up and sit down. We're getting ready to eat. And he's like, I don't like fish. And it's like, yeah. So tuna is not fish. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Tuna is kind of its own thing. Tuna has It's more comparable to steak than it is to fish, truly, depending on how you cook it. And I'm trying to have this conversation with him, but he's so committed to the I don't like fish experience that he can't experience this new opportunity, right? And this is so, and so inevitably we get into a conversation about beliefs and limiting beliefs and things of that nature. So this is just such a beautiful example of a belief. So he clearly had an experience eating a fish, and that was not pleasant. And so he made a belief that says, I don't like fish. Fish are this way. This doesn't fit for me. It's not good. And now the door's closed to experiencing other possibilities are being open, to the point to where even somebody that's, and we had this conversation, like, this is really crazy because, like, I'm not suggesting you try the tuna to hurt you. You get that, right? Like, this is from a place of taking care of you and nourishing you and helping you experience life to its fullest, not to punish you or torture you. And this child's example of a belief that will have consequences for the rest of your life is just a perfect example of all the beliefs that we have. And so we talked about state of being last week with the triangle. Focus, what we focus on grows, what we focus on we find, what we focus on become. Language, the way we talk about the things. And then physiology, which we just experienced with dancing. That creates our emotional state of being. But at the core of all of it, beneath that are the beliefs that drive the thinking and the language that comes out around a certain event. So his belief on fish is just like some other people. Some people were abused, some women were abused by men, or they observed their mothers being abused by men, and they made a decision, all men are this way, and this has this everlasting result in their life. Some people were bullied in school, and they had these bad experiences, and they decided people are this way. Some of us grew up with really poor parents that struggled so hard to survive, and then they got robbed, and then they got ripped off, and people stole from them. And then we said the world is this way. And these are beliefs that then drive the way we view everything that occurs in our world. It's just locked in our unconscious, and it influences the way we view. And I use this term references. I don't use it a lot, but I'm going to explain it really quickly. But Brooks's he has a reference for fish, and his reference is that one experience where he made the decision. And maybe he had two experiences. Maybe he was open-minded and tried a couple times, and he's referring back to that experience and bringing it into now and saying, this is like that, and therefore I'm not going to do it. So we have references. Now, none of us have a reference for a pandemic. It's really interesting. And it's interesting to watch people seek references. Some people will try to compare it to World War II, where people came together. And there's similarities, of course, but it's certainly not like World War II. It's just, but aspects of this are. And then the financial thing, we're trying to reference back to 2008, the Great Depression, all manners of economic crises that have occurred. So we're always seeking references to pull it into now so that we can understand. So is everybody, you give me a thumbs up if you get references. References are the way you link back to where the belief came from, compare it to now, so that I don't have to rethink this thing. So what I'd like you to do is just take a moment, and you should have a pen and pad if you're properly prepared for this meeting. And I'd like you to write down, people are, the world is, and life is. People are, the world is, and life is. And we're going to just spend 2 minutes, and I want you to just go inside and ask yourself the question, what is my belief about people? And answer that question for yourself. People are what? The world is what? Life is what? So just take a few quiet moments and write down your answers to those 3 questions. So we have these choices on ways to view this, and the language that the language part of the triad kind of exposes our beliefs. And if we're really paying attention and listening to someone, we get to experience some of their beliefs through the language that they use. So if I say life's a bitch and then you die, life's a grind, life is dangerous, it's tumultuous, it's hard, life's a battle. That sets the frame for the way I'm going to view literally every day I go to work. What if life's an adventure? What if life is a game? What if life is a box of chocolates and you never know what you're going to get? That's a pretty nice way of looking at it. There's nothing bad about a box of chocolates, and there's different surprises along the way. And you can reframe the way you view life. Same thing about people. People are they innately bad or are they innately good? Like, just start there. Do I generally trust people? Do I generally assume that people want to be good? Or do I generally assume that people are trying to take advantage of me and rip me off? It's a big one. It's going to change everything in the way that you interact with people. Everything. That shift completely will change your life if you begin to believe that people are good and people want good for you and for them. It's an extraordinary mind shift. And then what was the last one? I said the world. The world is and life is. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is step into your groups. I'm going to do a quick breakout room. And when you get into the breakout rooms, I want you to each take 1 minute to talk about your beliefs about life, the world, and people, and share how those could be elevated to give you a better experience in this life. So we're going to create the breakout rooms. Don't panic. Your screen's going to go dark for a little while. I'm going to give you guys a 60-second countdown. You'll pop back into this room, and we'll keep talking. See you in a little bit.
What's going on?
All right, guys. So as we're waiting for everybody to come back into the room, I'd like to see a hand and volunteer to talk about what you learned in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, go ahead, Alex T.
So we had kind of a mixture more towards people, I guess, not being the greatest. Not in a bad way. It's not like we're like people suck, but instead of like people are so beautiful and amazing, it's, people are kind of selfish and people are a little odd. So we had that. And then I think there was only one that really had a great outlook on people in general. Everybody else was kind of, people are all right.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Let me hear from another room. What was, let me see some hands. Who would like to talk about what they learned in the last 5 minutes? Preston, what you got?
I think everybody in our group felt that people in general are very good. We all agree that the world is troubled. There's problems in the world today. But for the most part, even though some of us struggle with life, we still feel like life is a gift. And so we had some really nice feedback. Really cool.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to offer for your consideration my own experience. The first time I was, I encountered this concept was at a Joe Crisera training event, learning about sales. And it was very new for me to step into that environment. And he said, I want everybody to check their beliefs about human beings. He said, we go into a service call, and we said, what I find in coaching is most everyone has this natural tendency to believe that the customer is against them. The customer is skeptical, the customer is a cheapskate, the customer is wary, the customer is all these things. And he said, what I find to be more true is that the customer is rooting for you. The customer needs you to be successful. They want you to be successful. Success to them means a solved problem. And so they're actually on your side. And it like blew my mind, because I'd really observed this interaction as a opponent of sorts, and it was just like, holy, okay, wait a minute. The customer's rooting for me. That's a very different experience. And you take that into life. And I just test it over and over and over again. And I find so few instances, literally to the degree of almost none, where human beings are purposefully, maliciously trying to hurt someone. We all do things that cause hurt to people, but it's typically not from a malicious place. It's from a place of trying to meet our needs, trying to be heard, trying to be understood. And people are good. People really want you to be successful. They want to be successful. And if jealousy occurs or something, that's not about you. That's about them not being okay with them. But at their core, this human being wants good. And what's beautiful about this is the way you show up to the world is totally different. Instead of closed and guarded and on the defense because I don't trust you, you show up open and anticipating good to come out of the other person. And guess what you get? You get good coming from the other person because your posture and your approach changed. And that openness is so clear to the recipient that you're giving in stepping into the vulnerability of trust that the world around you literally responds in a completely different way. Literally, like your vibe walking into Starbucks, if you ever get to do that again, is completely different when you just know that you're accepted and loved and everybody in this room is on my side. The room will feel different because you brought that into the room. That's the power of what I'm talking about. And it's true with life. It's true with your view of the world. It's true of everything. So I want to do a quick conversation here, but I imagine, can everybody tell me where they were when they heard about September 11th, the planes crashing into the building? Because everybody know exactly that moment when they got that news, they saw it and they learned of this experience, right? Yeah, that was a big one. And guess what? We're in the middle of that right now. September 11th happened this fast. The pandemic is happening over a span of months, and we're literally in the middle of this story. And imagine 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, people are going to ask you the question, what was your experience with the pandemic? You'll have little grandkids and kids that you haven't had yet that are going to ask you, I heard about this crazy coronavirus pandemic. What was that like? Tell me your story. And what's really cool is we're right now in the middle of it, and we get to author our story. You are the main character in your story about coronavirus and your experience of surviving it. And if you reflect back on movies and people that have inspired you, stories that have inspired you, who are those characters? What character are you going to choose to be in this story that you're in the middle of writing right now? Got all the choices in the world, and you got the luxury of time because this virus isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So you can actually be purposeful and thoughtful and think about what's the story going to be that I tell about my experience? What role will I play? I'd like you guys to just take a moment with your notepads. Take 3 minutes, and I want you to write down the word family, community, and team. and consider your family, consider your community, and consider your team when you write your story about how go into the future. 10 years from now, everything's normal. What was the story you told? What's the story you're going to tell about how you showed up and what was your character? So Jake, take 3 minutes, write that down, and we'll debrief. All right. I'll invite you guys after the meeting to just keep working on this. This is important. Have an opportunity to define who we're going to be in this moment and take ownership of that. It's an extraordinary opportunity we have right now. Absolutely extraordinary. I wrote down some notes when I thought of this last night. I thought, tell my grandkids someday. It's like, it was really challenging and it was a confusing time. The people bought all the toilet paper and we never really understood why. We made a lot of mistakes and we did a lot of things right. But the thing I'm most proud of is how our team came together in a really beautiful way. We reinvented this really large business in just a matter of days. And our team continued to heroically serve our community. We did everything we could, and we kept everybody safe. Because our team was so strong and everybody's attitudes were so good, and we didn't have to manage the emotional states of everyone. They just stepped up. Because of that, Sarah and I were operating in a place of abundance, and we were able to reach out and help others who are struggling. The lessons we learned in this experience taught us things we could have never learned if we hadn't been there. I'm sorry for people that were hurt because of the coronavirus, but the value of what we learned in that experience is immeasurable. So I invite you guys to take control of your story in this time, this moment. Make it a good one.